about if you're going to label him a villain or a thug. I'll have those comments for you coming up. Erin Andrews, Fox Sports, joining us. What was the scene like down there on the field when you're talking to Richard Sherman, at least prior to talking to him, Erin?
Prior to talking to him, and good morning. Hi, by the way.
Hi, good morning.
How are you? Hey, no, it was that whole moment where I grabbed him. Things were chaotic. The play happens. The defense comes back on the field. There's basically no time left, and because we knew it was going to be such a scramble on the field, I just ran into where the players basically are so I could get close to Richard and grab him as soon as Joe is done wrapping up the game. Get him live, get him in the moment. And we got it. I mean, you know, it's been hilarious for me because from the time that I've left the stadium to, today, I was in a car with Michael Strahan, I was in the car with Eric Shanks, the head of Fox Sports, and we all were just dissecting the whole thing. It was seconds after he had a career-defining, game-changing moment, and, the people that are shocked about this and upset, Dan, how much have you and I wanted a moment like that where an athlete didn't say we're playing Seahawks ball, we're taking it play by play, game by game, this is what we wanted. He lost his mind, and it was awesome for once, He never threatened me. He never cussed at me or the camera, and I never was frightened. To be honest with you, the look that I was giving that everybody's having a good time with, my boyfriend has said, God, I've seen that look many times. The look I was giving was I was trying to think. I had a feeling who he was talking about, but I didn't want people to think anyone in the media or I had said it. So I was like, do I ask him who is talking about him, or do I try to get out of this and say, hey, you had told us this week you're not allowing yourself to think about New York. You just saved the game for the Seahawks. So I was trying to think, do I follow up or what do I do? That was the phase.
But were you told to cut short the interview?
I was told, I wasn't even told to ask who was talking about you. I just watched it back as I got home last night. I was getting ready to ask the Super Bowl question, and they had said, we're getting out.
Why?
And they cut out. I don't know. I think maybe they were worried about language. I haven't even gotten a chance to discuss with Fox that yet because I'm already home. But, maybe people are asking why I asked about who was he talking about. It's that moment. It's that game-changing decision. I don't know.
Yeah, it was live, and that's why I wouldn't have gone away from it. And Fox has never shied away from personality being on display, and that's why I thought I didn't know if he checked out from you.
No.
Okay.
He didn't actually. Well, the one thing actually Eric Shanks had brought up on the way in the car was next time away I could handle that, because that's what I was freaking out about. Did I handle it right? Did I ask the right question? Was instead of my reaction was, hey, Joe, take it away, because I was shocked we cut off the interview, was maybe say, Joe, an emotionally charged, very passionate Richard Sherman literally seconds after the play, because I felt like I hadn't done him any favors with my reaction that we were cutting away, because I didn't realize that we were. And he was so jacked up, obviously, that right before Joe throws down to me, that he was going off on somebody, another reporter, not to the guy, but just about the play, that I cut my way in to grab him because I knew they were going to take the interview. He looked up, he saw me, and he just bear hugged me because he was so excited, and I hit my chin on his pad, and I was like, oh, God, am I bleeding? So it was just so much raw, candid emotion at once that, the next day we're all thinking about, okay, what could we have done differently? And I think I could have set him up differently.
Well, it's in the moment, and I try to tell people, when people who don't do it and they say, well, would you have done it differently? I said, I got to be fair to Erin. I don't know what's going on down there. I know it's always chaotic. I don't know if they say, you got 2 minutes, or you got 2 questions, or we got a hard, out, that we got to get off the network. I don't know any of those things that are going on at the time. I would have held on to him and just ask another question, because you had something nobody else had, and he was going to go to that press conference, and it was going to be watered down after that, because that's why they have that 5-minute cooling off period. You had real emotion attached to a real moment, sending a team to the Super Bowl. That's why I would have argued or fought to, keep it there, maybe 1 or 2 more questions.
Yeah, I mean, again, it all happened at once. I don't think he would have gone anywhere. He had turned his back a little bit after he said LOB. We had cut off of them at that point. I do think they were maybe worried about language. He never said anything.
Do you think it's calculated?
Him?
Yeah.
No. I think no, because I've been in meetings with him, and then moments afterwards, you saw him on the desk with Terry and Stray and those guys. No, there was obviously some back and forth with those two all week. He had made some comments to us about how he was looking forward to the matchup. And here's the thing, he wasn't really much of a factor in the game the whole night because Kaepernick wasn't throwing. I mean, he was killing him with his legs. It was the D-line and the linebackers that were kind of going off on the benches about what do they have to do to adjust. And I'm thinking moments before that play, who do I grab? Because Sherman and Thomas hadn't really done much because he hadn't thrown the ball.
Well, he
really
also was, critical of Kaepernick, that he was afraid to throw it his way. So do you think he'll be this way in the Super Bowl leading up with Peyton Manning?
I hope so. We don't want him toned down. Hey,
No.
We've had Richard Sherman on Fox. I don't, and I went out of my way to make sure to get word to him because once we started flying, we saw the tweets and we were reading them to each other, and we saw it was getting racial, and that is just ridiculous. And we saw people were saying, "Oh, poor Aaron Andrews." No, I was in his world. I'm in his world. We don't want him to back down. We don't want a watered-down tame Richard Sherman. We want the real stuff. So no, and I hope it doesn't.
Well, thanks for joining us as always, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the Super Bowl.